one of the things that I must say really distresses me about many of those who have followed us, I mean, I know we had our failings and some of our listeners will be quick to point them out, Tony. And you and I, I hope, would be modest enough to say we didn't get everything right. But it does distress me when I hear them say, oh, there's no constituency for this. There's no desire for it in the community. As Peter Costello points out, there was no desire for us to cut excess spending to get the books back into balance. When we'd done it, we were heroes because interest rates came down and real living standards started to rise, the economy started to improve. There was no constituency for taxation reform. In fact, we nearly lost the 1998 election promoting an unpopular tax at the time. Nobody suggested, we should roll it back, as the saying was then. It's never happened. 26 years, 27 years ago, since that major reform, you've got to go out and argue. And it worries me that there were many people helping prepare the arguments this time, especially on energy. You know, the arguments were there to point to the truth about renewables, that once you get above 35, 40% renewables, it's almost impossible to stabilise the grid, that it is not cheaper, it's not been cheaper anywhere in the world. Nobody pointed out that over a 60-year life cycle, nuclear turns out to be considerably cheaper than renewables. The lies were all, what happened to advocacy? I don't think we won a single day during that campaign.
We didn't fight on anything. We were brave and correct in committing to nuclear power in our electricity system last year, but we weren't prepared to sustain the argument. And in the end, our energy policy was basically a bit of this and a bit of that, but it wasn't a comprehensive, credible policy because, as you say, we weren't prepared to run the risk of upsetting people. We weren't prepared to take the argument to the people and sustain it. Yeah, in the end, political leadership is not about giving people what they want. It's about giving people what they need. And successful political leadership is persuading them that they actually want what's needed, that they are prepared to do the tough things as opposed to the easy things.
See, I think we won the 1998 election narrowly. People say, you know, you were badly damaged because you were promoting a new tax. I think the reality is people realise we had conviction and that got us over the line.
And if we were prepared to, if we had been prepared to say, look, we will have these 7 nuclear power stations on the designated sites. That means that we don't need to crisscross the country with extra transmission lines. That means that even after coal-fired power transitions out, we will have the reliable power needed to keep the lights on and sustain our industries and a first world economy. The difficulty was we weren't prepared to talk about what happens in the next 10 years because it would take some considerable time to get nuclear power substantially into the system. Maybe not the decade that was routinely talked about, but 5 years, I think, would certainly have been required, even if we did it at express speed. But in the immediate term, we do have to keep coal-fired power in the system, and we shouldn't apologise for that. We do need to get gas out of the ground vastly more quickly. I mean, the Narrabri gas field up in your neck of the woods, John, that's been mooted for well over a decade, and yet it's every time it looks like it's got permission, something else happens and it doesn't go ahead. Some new avenue of lawfare is raised against it. There should be, if renewables really are the cheapest form of power, they shouldn't be subsidised. So why do we continue these subsidies, which just distort the system and make the economics of reliable power almost impossible? So we consistently ran away from all these hard issues.